Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and happy 2023. I hope you all had a wonderful holiday season and I am wishing you the very best in this upcoming new year. As always, I am so thankful for you, every single one of you who watches my videos and supports me. I appreciate you guys and I thank you so much for your support in this last year and the previous years, of course. But last year was such a special year because we hit 1 million subscribers, which was a huge milestone for me and definitely one of my favorite moments of the year. So thank you guys again. And I cannot wait to see what this year has in store for us. But for today, I am so excited because we are talking best of beauty for 2022. And I'm going to share with you all of the goodies that I loved, drugstore and high-end. I feel for some reason like I'm forgetting something or a couple things. But then again, I'm like looking at my table and I have an overload of products. Grab a snack, get cozy, and let's get into it because it's going to be a long one. So like I do it every single year, I like to start in the order in which I do my makeup just to keep everything organized because there's a lot of stuff. Starting off with eyeshadow primer, I have two to mention. I am an eyeshadow primer believer. I believe that it really makes your shadows pop and last so much longer versus not using an eyeshadow primer. You could totally use concealer. I do that sometimes, but eyeshadow primer is my jam. And these are my two most used ones of the year. So up first I have the Rare Beauty one. This one is very lightweight, almost dries down to like a soft powder finish. So you really don't have to set this at all. It goes on pretty much like a concealer. It cancels out any veins or discoloration that you may have and it just gives you such a good even base. Also love the Dominique Cosmetics Everlasting Eye Base. A little bit of this goes such a long way and this does not dry down to a soft matte finish like the one from Rare Beauty does. This one definitely has a little bit more of a tacky finish to it, but I love this as well. So when looking for eye primers, I think it really just depends on what kind of finish you like, and that's the case with both of these. They're both great. The finishes are just slightly different and the formula, so I think it just depends on what you like. Let's chat about some mascaras now. First up, I have the one from Rare Beauty. I love this because it pretty much gives you all that you need in a mascara in one. It separates your lashes. It gives you so much thickness and volume. It's very dark and it lengthens them as well. I love the wand. It's pretty traditional, but I just love what this does to the lashes. It's great, I think, for both the top and the lower lashes. I also really like it whenever I need to add a little bit of extra volume to my false lashes. And I guess I'm touching up my mascara right now, but it really is so nice. I think the wand is a good size too. It doesn't flake, and I really love a good black mascara, like jet black, and this does that for me. It's so good. And then for drugstore mascaras, I loved the e.l.f. Big Mood, specifically the waterproof version, because this lasts all day and it holds a curl all day as well. And I have very straight lashes, so whenever I was just wearing mascara and no lashes, this was my go-to mascara. It lengthens, it separates, and it truly is waterproof. It will last through sweating, crying. I did a wear test with this last year. I did like a full face of drugstore waterproof makeup and this actually held up the entire day. I really love e.l.f. mascaras, but I think this one is by far my all-time favorite. I wanted to shout out an eyeliner now, a pencil liner specifically. It's from KVD. It's the Tattoo Pencil Liner in the shade Accent Brown. I'm not wearing this today on my waterline because I accidentally forgot to put the cap on it the other day and it dried out, and now, I mean, it is pigmented when I swatch it, but on my waterline I can't get any color, so I definitely need to get a new one. But how stunning is this shade? I know it looks super boring, it's just brown, but it's a warm brown and it makes your eyes pop. And sometimes black liner is a must, but other times I think certain looks call for a good brown liner, and this one is amazing. I think this also has really good wearing power. It's really creamy and it glides on the waterline without me having to tug at my eyes. Doesn't make them sensitive. It's just overall a really great pencil liner. And this comes in a ton of different shades, but the black and brown are my favorite, but specifically the Accent Brown. They also have a cool tone brown if you prefer something a little bit less warm, but the formula of the pencil is so creamy and pigmented. It's really nice. Now let's talk about these Haus Labs eye paints. I feel like everybody needs to own at least one of these. Like honestly, you need these. So these are the high power pigment paints and I have the color Black Onyx Matte today as my wing. I also really love the rose gold shimmer. I think this is the prettiest color for all over your lids. It is kind of similar to what I'm wearing today, but it's a little bit different. Like the undertone is slightly more like rose gold. I absolutely love the formula of these because of the pigment and lasting power. They're really easy too. There's not a lot of mess, especially with the shimmers. It's nice to be able to have a really beautiful like shimmer all over your lids without any fallout. It adds some really pretty dimension to your eyes, and I think this color would be very flattering on pretty much everyone. It could just be a good all-around lid lid shade. Let's talk about eyeshadow palettes. So I wanted to shout out my Nude Prism palette from Lunar Beauty because whenever I wanted like any kind of makeup look, whether it was like soft glam or if I wanted something a little bit more glam, this is the palette that I went to because I love these pinky mauvey tones in here. They're really pigmented, easy to blend. I especially love this black color in here. All of the shimmers are stunning. You can create so many pretty looks with it, and I love the tones in here. You also get a nice mirror. The packaging is stunning. It's just a good palette. Another eyeshadow palette that I really enjoyed was the Baked Browns 2 from Dose of Colors. This is one of my favorite, just warm, simple palettes. You can create the prettiest like go-to looks with this. And these are like your staples, you know, especially if you like warm neutrals. There's a couple different varieties of these eyeshadow palettes on Dose of Colors website. Some of them are all matte, some of them have some shimmers, but there's a cool tone version to this palette if you're not into warm tones that I think would look so beautiful if you have very fair skin. I also love the formula of Dose of Colors. It's one of my all-time favorites. I think the colors are so easy to work with. They're very blendable and you don't need to put in a lot of effort when working with the shadows. Another palette that I have loved so much last year, and I'm still using it this year, it's the Natasha Denona Glam Face Palette. I love that you get everything in here. You get your eyeshadows, your cream blush, your highlighter. It's great for traveling, great for everyday glam. This is what I'm wearing on my eyes today, by the way, and I just feel so pretty every time I use these eyeshadows. The cream blush is a beautiful rose, and then look at this. One swipe and it gives you like this wet metallic look, and I loved that one so much that I had to get the dark version. I haven't used this yet, but I cannot wait because look at these tones. Like the shades are breathtaking, especially the shimmers. The mattes are really nice though. They're so soft and buttery, and I think especially if you're gonna be like me and you're gonna use every single one of these colors and you know that you're gonna use every single one of these, get it. It's so worth it. Let's quickly talk about lashes. You guys already know false lashes and me, we just go together. I love me some falsies, but I was rocking my natural lashes a lot in 2022, so I am very proud of myself. But when it came down to lashes, the favorites are always gonna be the favorites. So AOA Studio in the style Alexis, these were probably my most used lashes. These and Kiss, of course, but these were like a new addition to my collection this year, and I am obsessed with these. They're so wispy and beautiful, easy to apply. They're really affordable. They work with so many of my favorite eye looks, whether I'm wearing eyeshadow or eyeliner or not. They look good every single time. I love these, and this is what I'm wearing today. They are pretty long, like you can feel them a little bit when you have sunglasses on or like regular glasses, but they are very wearable, I think, for every day because they kind of look like lash extensions a little bit, and you cannot beat it. I mean, you get all of these for such a great price. So I feel like I always have to give an honorable mention to my Kiss lashes, of course. So if it wasn't these from AOA Studio, it's always Kiss Pompadour or Kiss number 11s. There's so many favorite Kiss lashes that I really love. The reason I love these so much is because they're so similar to the ones from Kiss, to be honest. I mean, a little bit different, but very similar. These are also really similar to the Ardell Wispies. They all just have that really thin band and that fluttery wispy look. Oh my gosh, I think we're finally moving into Complexion, which is really exciting and my favorite, so let's get into it. Okay, coming in hot for primers, we have e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. I mean, of course, this is actually a newer, fresh bottle that I got. I went through an entire one of these last year. This works with so many of my favorite foundations, and it's just all around a great gripping primer that is hydrating and makes your makeup last all day. It's going to leave your skin with a little bit of a tacky base, which is what you want because then your products are going to stick and last literally all day. And another favorite, Milani Supercharged Dewy Primer. I also went through an entire one of these this past year. So with this, whenever my skin is just dull, needs a pick-me-up, it's looking crusty before makeup, I go in with usually a little bit of like a primer water spray and then this. And this just revitalizes my skin and gives me the most beautiful, hydrated, dewy finish. And my makeup applies beautifully every single time. This also does a nice job at making your makeup last and keeping it in place all day, which is nice as well. But I just love that dewiness that it adds to the skin. I talked about this in my last year favorites as well, but it really is one of those like forever favorite products that's always in rotation. And a new primer that I discovered this year is from Say Beauty. It's the Super Glowy Gel. This also gives me very hydrated skin, but it's more so a glow versus an actual dew. You know what I mean? Like the Milani primer gives me dewy skin because it feels more so like a moisturizer when I apply it, but the Say Beauty Super Glowy Gel goes on like a very lightweight serum. The formula is very thin and it gives gives a glow to the skin. There's no glitter in here, but it's definitely very glowy. You could mix this in with your foundation or just wear it on its own, and it enhances your skin and makes it look so pretty. I think this is, I always say, but a perfect product if you are getting married or if you just want a little bit of a very healthy, gorgeous glow under your foundation. You're gonna love this. Speaking of glow, I have to give an honorable mention to the e.l.f. Halo Glow Liquid Filter. Glowy products are my absolute favorite, and what I loved about this product from e.l.f. specifically was that it not only gave me that gorgeous glow, but it also added a little bit of coverage to my routine, which I especially appreciated in the summer, because a lot of times I would use this as my foundation in the summer and just add a little bit of concealer wherever needed, go over with powder, and I was good to go. And this just does everything that I needed to. It gives me a little bit of coverage, gives me a little bit of that glowy touch. You can use it under foundation, you can mix it, or like I said, you could even use it in place of your foundation if you're looking for something very lightweight. I also love the fact that there's no glitter in here. It's just a really beautiful sheen. So I have 2 tinted moisturizers, and then we'll talk about a powdered foundation and 2 regular foundations. The first tinted moisturizer I have is the Positive Light from Rare Beauty. This gives you really beautiful light to medium coverage. It's also very hydrating, and I noticed that when you build it up is when you get more of that dewy finish on the skin. There's also SPF in here, and I think it's just a really great everyday product. So I really love how lightweight this is, but the coverage is buildable, which I appreciate in a tinted moisturizer, and I think this wears really nicely. I will say though, with this specifically, I prefer a poreless putty primer, and I love the one from e.l.f. That's also another like forever favorite. Any, I think, thicker primer works best with this specifically because it is very hydrating, so it will get oily throughout the day if you have combo or oily skin, so I recommend something like that. Another tinted moisturizer that I loved, which was a little bit more of a lighter version to the one from Rare Beauty, but the Say Beauty Slip Tint. This also has SPF 35 in it, and this one I have in the color 3.5. But surprisingly, what I love about this is that it's your skin but better, and this actually has a little bit less coverage than the one from Rare Beauty, but it's still really smooth and pretty on the face when you put it on. It still does enhance your natural skin and gives you a little bit of coverage. If you have a lot to cover up, this is not going to be your best bet. If you want to cover up a little bit more, you still want a tinted moisturizer, I would say go with the one from Rare Beauty because it has a little bit more coverage. But the Say Beauty just melts into the skin and it looks like your skin but better. I also surprisingly really love this, just blending it in with my fingers. Another foundation that I used a ton in the spring and summertime as well is the Xoxo Skin Improving Foundation. Also has SPF in it. There was a pattern of SPF products throughout the year for me, but this gives such great coverage and it has a beautiful natural finish. But what I love about this is that it is so long lasting. This, along with my next favorite, the Haus Labs Triclone Skin Tech Foundation. I do think the Kosas foundation has slightly more coverage, and I actually mixed both of these today on my skin and they look so good. I love the combination together, but these on their own are really pretty as well. They both have natural finishes. I think the one from Haus Labs is a little bit more natural on the skin just because Kosas does have slightly more coverage, but I think these are both really great splurge foundations because of how long wearing they are and because of how nice the coverage is on the skin. But they're not heavy, they're not cakey. You can build them up if needed, but they're still not going to be too much. Especially the one from Haus Labs, even when you build this up, it's not going to be an intense full coverage foundation, but this is also like second skin in a bottle, and Haus Labs also doesn't have SPF in it. But yeah, I used this a lot in the spring and summer, and then Haus Labs I wanted to shout out because it was a newer favorite for me in the fall time, and for the past couple months this has like been one of my go-to foundations. I cannot stop using it, so I had to give both of these an honorable mention. Now we have some concealers to go through. This was also a bit of a challenge because I felt like throughout the year I used a lot of different concealers, but I did keep a couple different ones in rotation constantly, and these are the standout ones. So up first we have the NYX Bare With Me Concealer Serum. I really also enjoyed this on my very simple makeup days last year because it gives such beautiful coverage, but it's also very hydrating. This almost also reminds me of like skincare mixed with makeup because again, it's like a concealer serum. So it works really beautifully on your skin, whether you're using it on your under eyes or if you want to use it as your foundation, like to spot conceal. It's such a great product. A little bit goes a long way. It's extremely pigmented, but I love that dewy hydrating finish that this gives, and I feel like this is a really good dupe for the new Too Faced Ethereal Concealer, which I also love, but I think this is a really great dupe for that, and this was definitely one of my most used drugstore concealers. I always went to this. It's too good. And I usually would mix a couple shades. Like in the summertime, I loved the color Golden, but I also really like Vanilla if I want more of a brighter look. If you have very dry under eyes, you're going to love this formula because it's like skincare and makeup in one. I also really loved the JoA Beauty Eye Serum Concealer whenever I wanted even less coverage than the one from NYX. This is so easy. I love it for the under eyes or even to spot conceal. It gives light coverage, but at the same time, it's not totally light to the point where it doesn't look like you're wearing any makeup. Like, it still gives you something. Really great formula, blends into the skin so easily, and I think this is the perfect concealer if you're into natural makeup or everyday makeup. You're gonna love this for the under eyes. It looks really nice on the under eyes too. It gives me like slight little brightness, but it's very natural. As far as high-end concealers, I loved the Dominique Cosmetics Wide Awake Concealer. This is just everything. Great coverage, but very hydrating. I also love this metal applicator. Picks up just the right amount of product for your under eyes, and I feel like even when building this up, it doesn't get cakey. The formula is really, like I said, hydrating, so it's nice for the under eyes. It's also really smooth, and I have pretty minimal creasing with this. No matter what concealer I use, it's always gonna crease, but this for me is minimal compared to other concealers. I don't know how it's like so smooth, but like such great coverage. Whenever I wanted a more natural concealer on my under eyes with also very minimal creasing, I loved the LYS Triple Fix Full Coverage Brightening Concealer. So it says it's full coverage. I personally don't think this is a full coverage concealer. To me, this is more like light to very natural medium coverage, but it's so beautiful. It still gives you something. It definitely covers up any dark circles that you may have, but the formula of this is very thin and super lightweight. It looks really smooth, and I've even gotten a couple of you guys told me that you are very dry on your under eyes, or some of you told me that you are older and you love this concealer because of how smooth it looks on the under eyes and because of how lightweight it is. If you're looking for natural coverage, again with minimal creasing, if you're just not into a lot of concealer, you're gonna love this. Now let's talk about powders. So I was just talking about LYS. Let's talk about my favorite press powder, the Triple Fix Translucent Setting Powder. Specifically, the color is Resilience, which is the translucent shade. This powder, I really like it because it sets your makeup, but it doesn't look like you have any powder on your face whatsoever. It sets your makeup and it blurs your skin and smooths you out, but it doesn't even look like you put on any powder. That's the best way for me to describe it. It's stunning. I love this for the under eyes. I love it to touch up. I love it to set the face. And if you want a very smooth, natural under eye, get the concealer and the powder. I'm telling you, it's gonna look so good. The powder, I use this all year. I went through also an entire one of these. I have 2 backups. I love this for everything, any makeup look, no matter what kind of base products I have on underneath, the powder looks good over top. And my most used press powder, my Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish. This one I have in the color 1 Fair. This definitely is not gonna look natural like powder. This is gonna look like you set your makeup. It's gonna give you a matte finish, but I love this because I feel like it's the perfect final step in my makeup routine to give me that really airbrush, soft, like blurred look. So I really like this on its own to just set, but I also really like it paired over loose powder because it takes the smoothness on your face to the next level, like to the 10th power, for real. I just realized I forgot to talk about a powder foundation. We have the e.l.f. Camo Powder Foundation. I have to give this an honorable mention because this was another kind of like go-to, very easy product that I would use whenever I didn't feel like wearing any foundation. So I would spot conceal under my eyes, set my under eyes, and then basically just apply this all over the rest of my face, and that's it. It gives you the coverage of a liquid, but the finish of a powder, but it's not cakey. It wears so nicely, and it looks very natural, but it still covers up everything. It's insane. I think this is also a really good powder if you're looking to enhance the coverage. Like if you already have your foundation on and you want to set it and you want to add more coverage, you can do that as well. I personally really like it just because it's so easy. It gives me a smooth, almost full coverage look right off the bat, as if I just applied, like I said, a liquid foundation and then a powder over top. Another powder that I really enjoyed is the e.l.f. Halo Glow Light Pink Powder. e.l.f. Halo Glow powder is probably my favorite loose powder at the drugstore, like ever. It is very smooth. It brightens your under eyes, but it also has this really pretty, very light glowy finish that's not like shimmery or anything when you apply it, but it looks healthy and bright on the under eyes. And I really like this light pink version because it's very, very light. It's not like gonna look noticeably pink, but it adds this really pretty element of brightness, and like the undertone to it I think is very flattering on the under eye area. So I love this, and it also looks really good in pictures. And the Rare Beauty Loose Setting Powder was another favorite, and this is very similar to the LYS powder, whereas like when you apply it and when you set your makeup, it sets your makeup makeup, smooths you out, but it looks invisible. Like the powder just vanishes and it doesn't even look like you're wearing any. That's like the same case with this one from Rare Beauty, but this is just in like a loose form, and I really, really like it because sometimes loose powder, whenever you're applying it on your under eyes, on your face, it can be very heavy and it almost just looks like you're literally putting like flour on your face. Sometimes it can just be a bit much. That's why I love the glowy factor to the e.l.f. Halo Glow powder. But with this one from Rare Beauty, it's nice because it has a totally natural seamless finish, so it doesn't mattify you, it doesn't make you look dewy, it's just natural, sets everything, but your skin still looks like skin. It doesn't look powdery or cakey. So it's all around a really great setting powder. This also looks really good in pictures. I've tested these out. Now we're gonna get into some bronzer. I have two to mention. Soul Face and Body Bronzing Balm, the best. I have the color Light. I used this today. So easy to blend. A really great dupe also for the Anastasia Cream Bronzer, which I love, but I think this is an exact dupe for $9. You can get this on ColourPop's website. The formula, it blends in 2 seconds and it gives you a sun-kissed, bronzy, you just got back from the beach kind of look. For me, it just gives me the perfect amount of color. It's a little bit warm, but it's not too much. That's why I really like the color Light specifically. And you don't need a lot because the product is pigmented, but it's not muddy, and it just gives you the most beautiful sun-kissed bronzy look. You cannot go wrong with this. Another product you cannot go wrong with is the new Milani Liquid Contour. Ever since this came out, I have been non-stop using it. I think this is a really great alternative to the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Contour wand. It comes in 4 different colors. This is the lightest shade, and at first I thought it was going to be a little bit too light for me, but it actually gives me a really nice wash of color. It almost gives me like a natural contour because this is still warm, but it has a little bit of those cool undertones in there, so it really is nice for that natural chisel. This also blends in 2 seconds. That's what I look for. Whenever I'm applying a cream product, I want it to blend out like so quickly and look very seamless on the skin, and these two bronzers do that for me. For powdered bronzer, Juvia's Place bronzer in the shade medium. I'm pretty sure I talked about this last year, but I have to mention it again, you guys, because if you have been watching my videos and you have not tried Juvia's Place bronzer duos or blush duos, what are you doing? But seriously, this is probably one of the best powdered bronzers that I've ever used, and I love the shade range to Juvia's Place. There's absolutely no kickback with these. They're very smooth, really good dupes for the Fenty bronzer. Love the Fenty bronzer. But you get 2-in-1 in this little compact, which is nice, and the formula is basically, I think, identical. So yeah, long story short, this is smooth, buttery, pigmented, and it's basically a high-end formula for 20 bucks at Ulta. Now, let's talk about blush. Blush was really popping this year. e.l.f. came out with their luminous putty blushes this year, and I was so happy because I loved their original putty formula. You cannot go wrong. That is definitely more of a soft matte finish. These give you the most beautiful glowy finish, and I like these because you can actually wear them over top of foundation as well. I love the color Maui and Bermuda. Maui is a little bit more on the natural side. It's like a natural pink. Bermuda is a little bit more of like a peachy coral, but these give you such a beautiful wash of color to the cheeks while also giving you this really stunning glow. It's kind of like a baked blush in a cream form, to be honest. Like, that's the finish that you get, and even when you set your makeup, you're still gonna get a little bit of that glowiness from the blush peeking through. So I really love these. Whenever I wear them, I typically don't wear any highlighter on my cheeks because I feel like the glow in this is just enough. Another cream blush formula that I really enjoyed is from AF94. This is a brand that you can find at Walmart. It's a newer brand. It's Halsey's brand, and nothing is over $10, and their stuff is so good. I have a lot of favorites from the brand, but the cream blushes are definitely my all-time favorite product, and this one I have in the color Soft Smile. It's the multi-use cheek and lip color. This is, first of all, the prettiest pink. You can also apply this on your lips, but the way that these blend, it's like so seamless. It's honestly like magic. You can blend them in with your finger. I really like to blend it in with a brush, but it gives the prettiest color. It doesn't pick up any of the foundation underneath, and it just looks like you're naturally blushing from within, specifically with this color. But they also do have a couple other shades. I have this color here that I used a couple times in Bite Back, which is a really pretty bright, like corally red. Don't be fooled by red blush though. It is very wearable, and I think this could be a nice universally flattering color as well. So try out this cream blush formula, especially if you're just getting into cream blush, or you just want something natural but pigmented but blendable. This is a great formula. We have another Juvia's Place product coming in hot. Juvia's Place Blushed Volume 4 Duo. Everyone needs to have this in their collection. It's the most perfect bubblegum pink, and I actually used this brighter pink the other day and it was so pretty. It's wearable, and I think mixing both of these together gives the prettiest like baby doll look. But I especially like this color because I think it's the perfect addition to any makeup look. It looks good with any makeup look. It looks good over any other cream blush. It just enhances whatever blush you have underneath. I'm wearing it today, duh. I pretty much have been topping this over all of my blushes ever since I started using this, which was back in the summer. So it's really just that good. Another product that I really enjoyed is the Bio Radiant Gel Powder Highlighter from House Labs. So this is just the most beautiful pink highlighter, but honestly on me and my skin tone, it's like a baked blush. The most perfect topper over any blush that you have. I also have this on today and it just gives you this smooth, very pink, pretty look, but it also adds a really nice glow to the skin as well. Since it is a highlighter, whenever I use this, I just love like that 2-in-1 factor, so I don't have to go in with a separate highlighter or like a separate blush. This just, it does it all for me. If you're into blush, it's definitely a good addition also in your blush routine. And I also really like the color Fire Opal. This is a little bit newer. I wasn't really using it as much as Rose Quartz, but I think this is going to be such a beautiful color for the summertime, for like those warm, gorgeous cheeks. But I used this the other day on a really light brush. I dusted it on my cheeks and it looks so pretty. It gives basically the same effect, but it's just a little bit more orangey warm. And I feel like in every single favorites video, I have to give an honorable mention to Milani Baked Blushes because these truly are always in the mix for me. And this is one of my oldest used products. I remember purchasing this when I was maybe like 13 or 14 years old. I'm gonna be 27. So I've literally been using this for half of my life. And the color Luminosa was my OG all-time favorite. And I still love that color. I think that is like the most beautiful go-to blush. But I also love Dulce Pink. And it is a baked blush again, so it's gonna give you that glow with that pigment. It's not, I don't wanna say it's a dupe for the House Labs highlighter, but if you're into that kind of look, I feel like this could be a good alternative. I'm not saying it's identical, the formulas are different, but good alternative if you don't wanna splurge, I get it. The one from Milani definitely has a little bit more of like a glittery finish to it, whereas the one from House Labs doesn't. It's more smooth, but I still love the baked blushes from Milani. Like I said, these will forever and always be in rotation. Moving into setting sprays, you guys already know my favorites, Milani Make It Last and the e.l.f. Dewy Coconut Setting Spray. Those will always be in rotation. But a newer spray that I tried out this year that I really enjoyed is the Super Fix Misting Spray from Makeup Revolution. I wish this was a continuous spray, like when you spray it, but it still has a really nice mister. I really like the smell. It's very pleasant, very light. I don't think this gives you an ultra matte finish like it claims. I think it's more of like a natural finish, to be honest, on the skin, but it does a really beautiful job at setting your makeup and melting all of your products into the skin, like after powders and stuff. So I think this is a really good spray. You can get it at Ulta. But recently I discovered, and this, I'm kind of cheating because I didn't use this all year. Like I just discovered this around November. I'm cheating. But the Moira Micro Dot Setting Spray, I'm like obsessing over this because of the mister. Look at this. So light and so just like airy and fresh. This also does a beautiful job at melting in all of your makeup. Smell is really nice too. It's just a very micro fine spray and it does such a nice job at just keeping everything in place. I really like this on its own, but I've also, and the mister by the way is my all-time favorite thing about it, but I recently also started incorporating the Until Dawn One Size Setting Spray and I'm like, where has this been all my life? Why did it take me so long to try this? Because this is amazing. This and Charlotte Tilbury, I feel like they're like neck and neck right there. Really great setting sprays, but I feel like the one from One Size is even more matte and more intense than the one from Charlotte Tilbury. So I like to go in with the Moira spray first because it melts all of my makeup into the skin. It's much more hydrating than this one from One Size. So once this settles into the skin for a little bit, then I will go in with the one from One Size to really lock everything into place and mattify the skin. And this really does hold your makeup into place all day. It's intense. It does have a really strong scent though, so something to keep in mind, but I don't know if this is genuinely waterproof, but I've heard that it actually is because like I haven't tested it out. It hasn't been too hot or anything, but I will say my makeup does not move when I put this on. Now we finally made it to the lip products. So let's start off with lip liners. Okay, Charlotte Tilbury Iconic Nude. It's what I'm wearing on my lips today, and this is honestly one of the best nudes ever that I've tried. It really is an iconic nude. It's not too warm. It's not too cool toned. It's creamy. It is long lasting. That's why I love these so much, because you can eat and talk and drink and do whatever with them and they're still going to be on your lips. So it's a really great formula, really creamy. It glides on. It's not extremely hydrating though, so I recommend moisturizing your lips beforehand, but if you do, the product is going to glide on, and it's a beautiful formula. There's a ton of different colors, but Iconic Nude is my personal favorite because it's not too pinky and it works with a ton of my favorite lipsticks. But you already know the ones that I love, these from Milani. We're going to talk about them in a minute. Now, if you want that longevity but you don't want to spend a lot of money on a lip liner, I would say Rare Beauty is your next best bet because they're under 20, but they also still have that really beautiful long-lasting formula, but they're creamy and very pigmented. The color Worthy and Wise are my two personal favorites. Worthy is a little bit more on the pink side. And you can see, comparing that to Iconic Nude from Charlotte Tilbury, you can see it is much more pink, but I love this with like a nice pink gloss over top. It's so pretty. And then you can see Wise is a little bit darker actually than Iconic Nude, but it has that very similar undertone. So actually, now that I look at it, if you like Iconic Nude, you're gonna love the color Wise. It's actually a little bit darker, but it's beautiful. And these Rare Beauty liners are good too because you don't have to worry about sharpening them. You just twist them at the top. They do come with a little sharpener if you want to sharpen the actual pencil, but I usually don't really find myself doing that. I actually went through an entire one of these and I ordered 2 more. But yeah, wow, Wise is a great Iconic Nude alternative. Slightly different, again, the undertones, but so similar. Okay, love. And the Rare Beauty lip liners come in a variety of different shades, like beautiful colors, but these are my 2 like everyday go-to colors. And an even more affordable but still also very long-lasting option that I love are the NYX Line Loud lip pencils. These were newer. I love all of NYX lip pencils, but I feel like these are definitely one of the best ones that they've launched ever because they actually are waterproof and very long wearing too. I love the color Global Citizen. This is like my go-to warm brownie nude. Definitely much more like on the warm side than Iconic Nude from Charlotte Tilbury. Magic Maker, a really beautiful pink. Could this be a Pillow Talk dupe? Maybe. Has like that really gorgeous rose pinky undertone, but the way that these just glide on, they're so pigmented and creamy. With these though, you do have to sharpen them. I use one of these sharpeners. I'm pretty sure I got this at like Walmart years ago. It's just like really cheap, but it works. And not all sharpeners work with certain lip liners, so be careful, but I really like these bigger ones like this. For lipsticks, I honestly really only have the Milani Color Fetish matte lipsticks, which I definitely talked about last year, but they're just too good and probably the best lipsticks that I own. So I found myself using the color Pleasure the most this year. It's like the light nudie pink. I'm wearing it today. It's just the most perfect light nude pink, like just everything about it. The formula, the smell. To me, this is like a high-end lipstick for under $10, like truly. And I love the color Tease. Tease is a little bit more of like a warm, true nude. Ugh. So pretty. I'm not going to talk too much about these because you already know they're fabulous. I mean, if you have not tried these yet, definitely add to cart. It's such a good drugstore gem. One of my favorite glosses that I discovered this year is from Pixi, and this one is in the color Honey Sheen. And I've been raving about this so much because I have basically none left. I've been raving about it so much because I think it's another really good universally flattering gloss that is going to work on everyone, and I think it's going to work over any lip color, like no matter what. If you're going bold, if you're going light. I love it for the center because it just adds a really pretty shimmery sheen. And look, like, do you see how pretty that is? It's also very minty, makes any lip combo better, to be honest. Gloss does that in general, but this gloss really does it for me. Another AF94 product that I loved is the Give 'Em Shine High Shine Lip Gloss, and this one is like a really nice milky jelly type of gloss. Another good topper gloss, or even really nice just with lip liner. It has a little bit of a tint, but it's more like of a wet juicy gloss than anything, and I really like this because again, it enhances any lip combo, but even if you wear it on its own with that little bit of tint, it looks really pretty with lip liner. These also come in a variety of different shades, but this color is by far my favorite because of course it's an everyday color, but it works with a lot of different lip combos. Something else I could not stop using this year, and I also went through another one of these. This is my second one, but the Fawn Beauty Recovery and Glow Lip Oil. I need to order more of these immediately. This one is in the color That that's amazing. And it's just the most perfect milky baby pink. I don't have any lip oil or any lip color like this in my collection. This lived in my purse with me. This lived everywhere I went. This was with me, and love the big doe foot. Mine is like gross because I use it with my lip colors, but you can see I have like such little product left. I honestly adore all of her lip products because they just feel luxe and just buttery deliciousness on your lips. Another lip oil that I wanted to mention, this one is from Haus Labs. I know, more Haus Labs, but I have been so impressed with the brand ever since I did a full face. Basically fallen in love with like 90% of the products that I used. But these lip oils are like jelly, smooth. There's no scent to these, by the way. They are not sticky. This genuinely feels like a lip oil versus a lip gloss. I also feel like whenever I'm not wearing any makeup, these are the perfect addition to your lips because it adds some color. So it's a really good lip oil. If you're looking for something with a tint, you're gonna love these. Last but not least, I wanted to end off with the NYX This Is Juice glosses. I specifically love the color Pomegranate Clout the most because you cannot go wrong with a good sheer cherry red. It's another kind of color that's gonna look good on everyone. And so this is more so a lip gloss, but to me, it kind of reminds me a little bit of a lip oil as well. It smells so good, but it gives your lips a really light sheer tint with that really pretty glossy finish. Love this formula. I loved these a lot also in the summer because they're really fun. They smell good. They feel nice on the lips. And I love that really gorgeous tint that it adds to the lips. You cannot go wrong. I really also enjoyed the color Guava Snap. This one gives you a little bit of like an orangey kind of hue to the lips, but it's so wearable. You see that? Like, and I found that the NYX one, let me actually swatch it next to the other one, but I found this to be a really nice alternative to the Fenty Heat Gloss Bomb in the color Hot Cherry. So this one is NYX and this one is Fenty. Fenty is definitely a little bit more like red versus pink. Like I feel like the one from NYX has a slight pinky sort of undertone, but honestly on the lips you can barely tell a difference and they give you that super similar effect. Now of course the one from Fenty is plumping, the one from NYX is not, but it's more so the color that I feel like is a nice alternative versus the actual formula itself. We finally made it to the end, but I really enjoyed chatting about all of my favorites. Again, I still feel like I'm forgetting some stuff. It's really so difficult because I have so many favorites and I like to obviously always give you guys a lot of different variety and options in my videos because I know different things work differently for everybody, but these were truly my standout products and things that I really enjoyed. So of course I will have everything linked for you guys down below if you are interested, and let me know what your must-haves were in 2022 and what products you're bringing into the new year with you, because I'm definitely bringing all of these with me. These are my babies and they will be used and very much loved in 2023 as well. So that is officially everything for today. I love you guys so much and I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye.